A Treatise of Human Nature by David Hume. Book 1 of the Understanding. Part 3 of Knowledge and Probability. Section 7 of the Nature of the Idea or Belief. The idea of an object is an essential part of the belief of it, but not the whole. We conceive many things which we do not believe, in order then to discover more fully the nature of belief, or the qualities of those ideas we assent to. Let us weigh the following considerations. 'Tis evident that the reasonings from causes or effects terminate in conclusions concerning matter of fact, that is, concerning the existence of objects, or of their qualities. 'Tis also evident that the idea of existence is nothing different from the idea of any object, and that when after the simple conception of anything we would conceive it as existent, we in reality make no addition to or alteration on our first idea. Thus when we affirm that God is existent, we simply form the idea of such a being as he is represented to us, nor is the existence which we attribute to him conceived by a particular idea, which we join to the idea of his other qualities, and can again separate and distinguish from them. But I go farther, and not content with asserting that the conception of the existence of any object is no addition to the simple conception of it. I likewise maintain that the belief of the existence joins no new ideas to those which compose the idea of the object. When I think of God, when I think of him as existent, and when I believe him to be existent, my idea of him neither increases nor diminishes, but as 'tis certain there is a great difference betwixt the simple conception of the existence of an object and the belief of it, and as this difference lies not in the parts or composition of the idea which we conceive, it follows that it must lie in the manner in which we conceive it. Suppose a person presently with me who advances propositions to which I do not assent, that Caesar died in his bed, that silver is more fusible than lead, or mercury heavier than gold. 'Tis evident that notwithstanding my incredulity, I clearly understand his meaning, and form all the same ideas which he forms. My imagination is endowed with the same powers as his, nor is it possible for him to conceive any idea which I cannot conceive, or conjoin any which I cannot conjoin. I therefore ask wherein consists the difference betwixt believing and disbelieving any proposition. The answer is easy with regard to propositions that are proved by intuition or demonstration. In that case the person who assents not only conceives the ideas according to their proposition, but is necessarily determined to conceive them in that particular manner, either immediately or by the interposition of other ideas. Whatever is absurd is unintelligible, nor is it possible for the imagination to conceive anything contrary to a demonstration, but as in reasoning from causation and concerning matters of fact, this absolute necessity cannot take place, and the imagination is free to conceive both sides of the question. I still ask wherein consists the difference betwixt incredulity and belief, since in both cases the conception of the idea is equally possible and requisite. 'Twill not be a satisfactory answer to say that a person who does not assent to a proposition you advance, after having conceived the object in the same manner with you, immediately conceives it in a different manner, and has different ideas of it. This answer is unsatisfactory, not because it contains any falsehood, but because it discovers not all the truth. 'Tis confessed that in all cases wherein we dissent from any person, we conceive both sides of the question, but as we can believe only one, it evidently follows that the belief must make some difference betwixt that conception to which we assent, and that from which we dissent. We may mingle and unite, and separate and confound and vary our ideas in 100 different ways, but till there appears some principle which fixes one of these different situations, we have in reality no opinion. And this principle, as it plainly makes no addition to our precedent ideas, can only change the manner of our conceiving them. All the perceptions of the mind are of two kinds, impressions and ideas, which differ from each other only in their different degrees of force and vivacity. Our ideas are copied from our impressions and represent them in all their parts. When you would anyway vary the idea of a particular object, you can only increase or diminish its force and vivacity. If you make any other change on it, it represents a different object or impression. The case is the same as in colors. The particular shade of any color may acquire a new degree of liveliness or brightness without any other variation, but when you produce any other variation, 'tis no longer the same shade or color. So that as belief does nothing but vary the manner in which we conceive any object, it can only bestow on our ideas an additional force and vivacity. An opinion, therefore, or belief may be most accurately defined, a lively idea related to or associated with a present impression. Here are the heads of those arguments which lead us to this conclusion. When we infer the existence of an object from that of others, some object must always be present, either to the memory or senses, in order to be the foundation of our reasoning, since the mind cannot run up with its inferences in infinitum. Reason can never satisfy us that the existence of any one object does ever imply that of another, so that when we pass from the impression of one to the idea or belief of another, we are not determined by reason, but by custom or a principle of association. But belief is somewhat more than a simple idea. 'Tis a particular manner of forming an idea, and as the same idea can only be varied by a variation of its degrees of force and vivacity, it follows upon the whole that belief is a lively idea produced by a relation to a present impression, according to the foregoing definition. This definition will also be found to be entirely conformable to everyone's feeling and experience. Nothing is more evident than that those ideas to which we assent are more strong, firm, and vivid than the loose reveries of a castle builder. If one person sits down to read a book as a romance, and another as a true history, they plainly receive the same ideas, and in the same order, nor does the incredulity of the one and the belief of the other hinder them from putting the very same sense upon their author. His words produce the same ideas in both, though his testimony has not the same influence on them. The latter has a more lively conception of all the incidents. He enters deeper into the concerns of the person, represents to himself their actions and characters and friendship and enmities. He even goes so far as to form a notion of their features and air and person, while the former, who gives no credit to the testimony of the author, has a more faint and languid conception of all these particulars, and except on account of the style and ingenuity of the composition, can receive little entertainment from it.